Notion is the best productivity app of 2024. There, I said it. And if you're looking to be more productive, then switching to this all-in-one platform can double your efficiency, or at least distract you for a couple of hours. With over 35 million users and still growing, and my free Notion templates having over 30,000 downloads, then there is no reason to keep postponing. Just make the switch to Notion. But first, how is it different to Word or Google Docs? Notion uses lines. These can be almost anything. And just like Word, I can type blah and I can type poop. I can type anything I want. But here's the cool thing. By using /, I can use any command that I want. I'm kind of like God if he needed to procrastinate on writing a report. Here you can see all of the different possibilities. Wow, there are so many. But there's more. It's not just formatting. You can embed from other platforms. Here you can see images, embed from YouTube, Vimeo, blah, blah, blah. You can get code in here. You can upload files. You can embed from SoundCloud or Spotify. Don't do that. We'll talk about that later. You can put in tables and databases. Again, we'll talk about that. Look at all of these different options you have here. And down here, you can embed from Google Drive. You can put in a tweet, Figma files, InVision, Framer. I don't know what half of these are. Miro, PDFs, Loom, Typeform. I'm sure some of these also exist. You can put in all of that here as well. By the way, quick tip, you can add an emoji by doing : and now you can type anything. Smile, look at that. Let's say this one. And unlike Word, when you add something, it doesn't completely f up the formatting. But Notion is so much more than a functioning Word document. Its real benefit is databases. So let's build a simple to-do list database. Step 1, calm down. Just because I said database doesn't mean you have to freak out. Step 2, we're going to do / data. Look at that. You get all of these different options. I'm going to click on table view here. And now what I can do is use an existing database, which we'll get to, or let's just click on new table. So here I can write to-do list. And why, I know what you're thinking. Maybe, I don't know. You might be thinking, why not just do a normal table that looks like this? Do you know why? This is stinky and stupid and smelly, and it's also stupid. This doesn't connect or talk to anyone or use data. It is a database without the data. It is just a base. This is a database. This database feels like when you watch Tony Robbins. The possibilities are endless and you can do absolutely anything. Now, why is this possible? It's because we can click on this plus button here. And what is this plus? It is to add a new property. And no, this is not to avoid taxes.
That real property provides you with a tax write-off.
It's actually to help us be even more productive. See, there are a ton of different properties that we can add. Properties are the same thing as columns. So as you can see, this tags column got automatically added. So I can add type 1, for example, and look at this, type 2. This here is a tags property, and there are so many different options to choose from. Now this can get confusing, but it doesn't need to be. So let's make a simple to-do list. I'm going to delete this property here, and I will say to-do list item 1, to-do list item 2, to-do list item 4. I tricked you. I'll click on the plus, and here, let's make it simple and add a checkbox. And here, I'll just write done. Wow, look at that, we've created a to-do list. Now this doesn't seem that crazy, does it? It just looks like a normal table. See, we can now view this database by clicking on these 3 dots in a bunch of different layouts. So by clicking on the layout here, who would have thought, you can change this from a table to a board view, to a timeline, a calendar, a list, a gallery. There are so many different options here. By that I mean 6. And because I changed it to a board view, as you can see, it automatically added this status column here. So I'll delete that. And because I changed it to a calendar at one point, it automatically added this date property. Now, the even cooler thing about Notion is I don't have to change this view here. I can actually see it in both views. By duplicating this table view here, I can write in calendar, for example, and now change the layout here to a calendar. So if I change any of the data here, so let's say to-do list item 1 gets added with the date of today. If I go back to the calendar, you can see to-do list item 1 here. And if I add anything in here, blah blah, if I now go back to the table, you could see blah blah is sitting here on August the 8th. These two are the same database and everything is talking to one another. Now you might be thinking, won't my page get crowded? Well, calm down, you silly sausage. Yes, it would. But in Notion, you can create pages and pages. It's like the multiverse of productivity. I'm Doctor Strange and you're Batman. To create a page, all you have to do is / and get this, you click on page, new page. And if you were a psycho, you could also do another page in here. you could just do pages and pages and pages. Now, the cool thing of Notion is we could bring forward the data that we just created. This database was called to-do list. So go into the new page here, and what I can do is /data, click on table view, and this time instead of clicking on new table, I'll click on the to-do list. It's coming up in the recents here. And as you can see, I am now seeing this same database. And I can even choose, do I want to see it as the table view or the calendar view? I want to see it as the table view. Now the next thing here might be a little scary. We have filters, sorting, and we have groups. These three things really are the powerful features behind databases. For example, with this table here, let's add a simple filter to start with. We can filter by only show me stuff that has a date, for example. So if I click on filter and then click on date, I can say where the start date is not empty. And as you can see, I'm not seeing the other two items here. But if I go back to the other database, so the same database, but the other, you know what I mean, it's sitting here and we can see this here. That filter I applied only applies to this one here. The possibilities here are truly endless, but it takes a while to get some ideas on how to use it to its full potential. Notion is like OneNote, Excel, Word, and Calendar, all merged into one weird thing. That's Notion. It's kind of ugly, but you learn to love it after a while. If you think this is too ugly, you can go up to these three dots here, and you can change the font. So we have default, you can change it to serif, and if you're a psycho, you can change it to mono. But we won't be doing that. We'll click on serif. You can also change the text sizes and do some other stuff, but it's too complicated, we won't get into that. So here we have our Notion page. You know what, this is also insane for me, I'm going to change it back to default. Now you might be thinking, what should I put in my Notion? Well, here's what you'll want. You'll want your tasks, your projects, your life buckets, your calendar, your journal, your time tracking, and your notes. They're the big ones. There's other people put in, like weather widgets and other pointless clutter, and if you include this, then realize you probably care more about looking productive than actually being productive. But is it possible to make this not overwhelming? That sounds like a lot of stuff to add in here. Well, yes, with proper user interface design, you can connect databases to other databases. So let's do /data and just create a new database. I'll click on new and I'll call it blah, blah, blah. And here what I can do is click on the plus property, and this property will be a relation. And what I can do is say, I want this database to relate to this one. Basically, I want this one to talk to this one. So if I type now blah, blah, blah and search for that, you can see it comes up here. Click on that, and I'll say add relation. Now this to-do list is talking to blah, blah, blah. So let's actually change blah, blah, blah to projects, for example. And let's have project 1, project 2, and project 3. What you can now do in the to-do list is say to-do list item 1 is to do with project 2. So now we are connecting our to-do list with our project list. And because everything is set up for you to actually click on and for it to be dynamic, I can now click on project 2 here and add in all the information that I want. As an example, when I journal, I summon a dynamic task list, so I know everything that I achieved that week. I can journal based off of that. It's pretty cool, and I hate to flex on those using normal journals. If you're looking to improve your productivity, Notion is the app for it. However, building the perfect Notion setup can take a while. I spent months creating my ultimate Notion dashboard, and now over 1,400 people are using it. It's got a 5-star rating, and if you click on this video here, you can see how it works. Thanks for watching.